What is going on, guys? Hope you're having a blessed day. 7:15 on a Wednesday morning, man, and this is me just documenting my journey with entrepreneurship, building my fitness coaching business, and hopefully I can look back on this and 6 months to a year and be in a completely different spot. That's the goal, man. I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. Main reason is because like the money, cool. There's a lot of a higher ceiling with, financially, but something that always haunted me was seeing the people that I love, my mom, my dad, my stepdad, and just seeing them still having to check their finances before, going out to dinner, before vacation, or we can't go on vacation this year because we got to save up, and like still working full time and not, not having time off, like still working full time and still stressing over money, bro. And it always confused me, right? Because like I always thought as a kid that like the older you get, the more successful you get, right? Like the longer you're playing this game of life, the easier it gets. And like I've come to realize, bro, that's not the case. And I read a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad. Some of you probably know what it is. And my neighbor, this is what started my journey with entrepreneurship. He put it on my side door, and he texted me. He's like, "Hey, bro, like I put a book out there for you. Like you should read it whenever you get the chance." And I don't know, bro. Maybe it was just God's timing, but at the time where he put that book on my side door, I was like in that phase of my life where I was like, I needed to change. That's when I was like, junior, senior year of high school, just out of shape, insecure, had addictions. I hadn't rededicated my life to Christ at that point in my life yet, and so I was like open to it. I hated reading. I still do. It's easier when you read something you enjoy, right? You go through school and they just give you books that are just stupid. So it's like, I was kind of indoctrinated to like just not enjoy reading, right? But I'm like, man, it's about money, and I'm trying to make money. So I read it, man. I read it, and that was the book that made me open my eyes to a few things. One of them being, look, there's a reason that schools don't teach about money. There's a reason that, we're not taught how to become truly free, because why would the government have schools teach everybody how to get rich? We'd have nobody to clean the bathrooms. We would have nobody to flip the burgers. We'd have nobody to come pick up our trash. Like, you can't teach everybody how to be a business owner, because then we have no employees, right? And we need employees for the economy to run. So I realized, okay, it's no surprise that I haven't been taught this. My parents, people that are older than me, just because they're older than me doesn't give them grounds for me to have to accept what they tell me, for me to have to accept every piece of advice that they give me, because it was all the same. It was all just, oh, you got to save up, go to college, build your 401k, get a degree, get a good job, get good benefits. And it's like, but where are you at? And I would like hear this stuff, and I would look at their life, and I would think, I'm like, bro, like, this is where I'm gonna be at if I follow their advice. And I didn't want to be there. So like it was like a really tough spot in my life, because I realized I can't take that advice, because your situation is a reflection of the advice and the stuff that you're telling me to do. So if I do what you're telling me to do, I'm gonna end up where you're at, and I don't want to be there. So it sucked, bro, because I'm like, man, well, now I have nobody. Now I have nobody, because nobody that I knew, I didn't have any family. Nobody that I was close with was a business owner, was their own boss and an entrepreneur and worked for themselves and had freedom of their time and was able to go on vacations while still generating income and was able to choose their own hours and none of that stuff, bro. So it was a very like alone time in my life, I also cut off a lot of friends for this, and I didn't really cut them off, but I got distant because they weren't ready for that journey. So I became distant, bro. And that's where that journey started for me, bro, of realizing that like I have two options. I can either go the rest of my life, right? Because I wasn't going to college. Like I knew I wasn't going to college. Like it was either trade work or be an entrepreneur, right? Because you don't need a freaking degree. Like all you need to do trade work is you just need to show up, bro. Like yeah, you need a good work ethic, but if anybody can work with their hands, bro. And yeah, there's good money in some trades, but like I knew I didn't want to do that for the rest of my life because I'd be beating my body up till I'm 40, 50, 60 years old, working full time, higher income, higher expenses. If you're working a job, if you're working for somebody, bringing in a one paycheck a week, fixed amount, it's like, yeah, you can get a nicer car, you can get a nicer house, but now as your income goes up, you're able to afford those things. Now you have more expenses, and so it evens out, bro. It's the rat race. I didn't want to run the rat race, bro. So I had two options, man. It's either do that and live with myself knowing that I knew how to potentially get out of that, but I just chose not to because it was a little scary and it was, I knew it was going to be hard and, or I could do it. I could figure it out as I go and get uncomfortable, right? And take that risk on myself, take that bet on myself, step into unknown territory. And here's the thing, man, like us as humans, like we don't want to do something unless we get a guaranteed outcome. We don't want to put skin in the game unless we know we're going to get something in return. This is why this isn't for everybody, bro, because not many people are willing to step into unknown territory, get uncomfortable in hopes that they're going to get a return. Like no entrepreneur starts out like knowing 1000% it's going to work. Like yeah, you have to kind of brainwash yourself, right? You kind of have to be delusional. Like yeah, you have to believe that it's actually going to happen before it happens. But in reality, bro, it is not guaranteed for anybody, bro. Like you could put the work in and whatever. Like nothing is a guarantee in entrepreneurship, and that's just not a risk that many people are willing to take, right? That's why so many people quit. They have these expectations it's supposed to work out in a certain amount of time and it doesn't. So they get discouraged and they quit. Maybe it's not for them, right? Maybe they're just not cut out for it. But I've done stuff like this before, man. Once I decided that I needed to be an entrepreneur to really get the life that I wanted and get true freedom. Once I knew that, the first thing I ever did was I started a landscaping business with my boy. That didn't last too long because I just had zero passion for it. Close the door, man. It's getting a little loud. Airport's right, over there. I started a landscaping business with my boy. That didn't last long because I hated that trade. I live in Florida, so it's like even worse down here. But that's not it, bro. It was also kind of hard. We didn't get traction. We didn't get much traction in the beginning, so it was discouraging. So I quit, right? Realized, what are you doing, bro? What are you doing? Here we are back at doing trades for the rest of our life, I guess, right? So next thing I tried doing was flipping cars. I did that for about 3-4 months. I bought about 4 cars, broke even on like all of them. Said, all right, maybe this isn't for me, maybe this isn't for me. I'll try something else. Could it have been for me? I don't know. I didn't really stick with it that long. I didn't really, give it my best effort, So went back to, working a 9-to-5 after that. I think I went to, that's when I got a job at Valvoline, right? That's when I got my first 9-to-5 at Valvoline because I'm like, man, I just need a steady paycheck, whatever. Got a little discouraged, stepped out of entrepreneurship, worked a 9-to-5 again long enough to realize, all right, bro, what are you doing? Like, here we are again. I guess this is it, right? We tried, it wasn't for us. So, but I knew, bro. It's like, it's not that it's not for you, bro. You're quitting too easily, right? So third thing I tried was wholesaling real estate. That I did for about a year. I did it with my boy, and I didn't make any money. I'm not gonna lie. He made one deal for $10,000, and that kind of gave me some hope. But then, a few months after that, we still didn't make no money. We got discouraged and we quit. It was also like a thing where I quit my 9 to 5 to go into wholesale real estate full time, which I don't really recommend anybody. It is a risk that you take on yourself, but this time around with fitness coaching, I have a full-time job. I wrap cars, do vinyl. We wrap cars, walls, just like anything, bro. Windows, anything vinyl. So I do that Monday through Friday right now. And like, it's sustainable, bro. It's paying my bills. Right. So if I were to stop this time around, also I'm living on my own too. Any other time I did, something, whether that was flipping cars, wholesale real estate, landscape, like I lived with my mom. So I kind of had that safety net of like, okay, I can quit my job. Right. But this time around, man, like, yeah, I have, I'm married now. I got a wife. We got bills to pay. And so that's not really an option for me right now. So we're keeping that full-time job, and we're starting this up with the full-time job, So yeah, dude, I've done stuff before. And I believe at this point, I went through those things to mentally prepare me for this time around, right? Because I know what I already had an expectation, when I started fitness coaching, of like, okay, what is this going to look like for me mentally? Well, I'm going to put some work in, right? I'm probably not going to get the result that I want right away, right? Progress doesn't always come in the form of money, right? Got to remember that. And I might get discouraged. I might, get a little stressed out. Whatever it is, I know I already have experience with the mental side of entrepreneurship, bro. And I know that this time around, if I just stick with it long enough, it has to work. It has to work, bro. A lot of the times, we just haven't stuck with it long enough, The times where, I was wholesaling real estate for a year, was I really giving it my all for that whole year? No, I wasn't, It's bigger than me this time around. It's not just about the money this time. I have a wife, bro. We're trying to start a family. And, it's not just about the money, bro. It's about the freedom. I want to be there for her. I want to be there for, God willing, we have a few kids, and I want to be, more involved with my church and be able to give back more and everything. You know what I mean? I want to be able to send my parents money and, buy them a car. Like my mom, like they only have one car right now. Like my goal would be to just like buy them another car, So it's bigger than me this time around, bro. And I'm detaching from the money as much as possible and just focusing on showing up, providing value, really caring about people, and trying to just help people out as much as I can. And as a result, the money will come. And yeah, man, like I said, I'm just kind of documenting this journey. I don't know what it's going to look like for me timeline wise, but I know we're going to make it work. I don't know exactly when it's going to happen, but we're going to make it work. We're going to make it work, man. Because like I said, I know the options. Like some people, they just don't know. Some people genuinely think they could save their way to success. It's not going to happen, man. It's not going to happen that way. So, I'm blessed to be able to know this at a younger age, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, man, it's something that, every time I stopped, being an entrepreneur, I'm like, bro, this is it, and I'm like, and the other voice crept in of like, no, bro, this is not it. This is not it, bro. This isn't it. So yeah, bro, it's a mental battle, but, trying to keep God at the center of it all and keep God as number one priority, trusting his plan and his timing, bro. And, hopefully look back on this soon and be like, wow, bro, look how far we've come, right? Look how far we've come.